I'm Wes Smuts with McGrath Real Estate, and today we are here with Carol Dingle, the co-founder and GM of Dingles Cafe in Rockhampton. It's definitely one of my favorite spots. You can find me most weeks grabbing a lunch or breakfast here. We are here to chat a little bit to Carol about her experiences and how she sees kitchens in her life. Hi, thank you for chatting with me today.
Yeah, hi Wes, yes.
So, you grew up in a family in the country, right?
Yes.
So what I wanted to talk to you about is what are your memories in and around kitchens in a big family growing up?
Yeah, look, Wes, as a large family and growing up, in the country, the kitchen was the main part of the house, really. So from when we were young, like the 6 kids and mum and dad, so a family of 8, all sitting around a table. Probably some of my fondest memories of the kitchen is, is when the whole family were there. Dad would always sit at the head of the table, and in a big family also, once again, nothing is sacred as such. So as the years went on, so everything was discussed around the table. And then also, like as the years went on, so we had partners and, whether it was boyfriends, girlfriends and all that sort of thing. And actually the funny part about our kitchen table was there was one side where you sort of, because it was a bench seat, you could not get out. So in other words, if you sat there, you were stuck there for the whole time. So really, look, really, really fond memories of the kitchen.
Yeah.
So the kitchen table, but also like with the cooking, from a very young age, also like everyone was welcome at the Dingles family, right? So therefore, we had a lot of, workers or people that would come and sort of do different jobs and that for us. So it was always, do you want to stay for lunch? Do you want to stay for dinner? So sometimes, like, we would have to cook for 20 and it would not be a bother. Like, we would just do it from a young age. And so some of the funny things that I think of is, like, when there was a whole lot of, young workers there, the potato mash was, not like a pot this big.
Yeah.
It is this big. Yeah, so I think that's probably some of the things that, it was nothing to us to make a meal for anyone who turned up. Yeah, so that's sort of like the philosophy, I suppose, about Dingles.
So that generosity of spirit, you think that's kind of where your ethos of Dingles Cafe comes from?
Oh, definitely, Wes. Yes, definitely. It's, and to me, like a kitchen, if everyone does reflect about, what their kitchen, as I say, I've got wonderful memories, some may not. And I think, in different phases in your life, so when I was, a mum bringing up 3 children, that was another story altogether. I really didn't like the kitchen because I was feeding hungry children, working full time by myself, so making a meal was sometimes a very rushed affair. And, I can remember one night my son George telling me, "Mum, I don't taste any love in this." I said, "It's not, just eat it." So, but now, with my family that are now adults, my sons actually cook for me. And it's a beautiful thing. So it's, once again, in the kitchen, just sitting around, chatting, cooking, enjoying the meal. Yeah, to me it's like the engine room, I suppose, of any home, really. And that's why I think, to me, if I could not probably function if I had a closed off kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it all has to be together, whether you're cooking for just one person, your loved one, whether it's, for 20, it's still that, feeling of, just everyone coming together. Yeah.
I think I like that story that you just mentioned about the different phases in your life and how the kitchen is always there, but its role changes.
Oh, for
depending
sure,
on what
Wes.
stage in your life you are.
Yes, and so here we are now in Dingles where, you know, it's okay to cook for, you know, as I say, like 20 people, but then when you have chefs that you know, that you trust, and so I think sometimes we can actually annoy them probably too much, because we've always, you know, had, you know, really good produce, simple food, but just cooked really well.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Sometimes people may not think that's sort of anything special, but it actually is. If you've got, you know, amazing produce, which we, you know, locally source a lot of things as much as we can. So, you know, once again, it's that story, isn't it, about everything, like where your food comes from, to the kitchen, to you know, all your family members, you know, and you know, you think of a kitchen table as well too, like how many times have you had fun times, and then it might be also sad times as well that you've actually had around the kitchen table. And I think, you know, like we lost our dad 10 years ago, and as I say, he was such a huge part of our life, but also like even having a cup of tea, it was always around the table. And I think, to have people come into Dingles, and we can actually extend that sort of, you know, hospitality, that, you know, you are welcome. Yeah, you are welcome into our home. Sit around, so it's more of a community here. And then of course, you know, people come because we do have very good scrambled eggs.
Well, it's definitely something I've always experienced here, is that sense of family. I mean, since the first time I came here, I felt welcome, and it's always been somewhere that I really love to come. Whether I just grab my laptop and I'm working, or whether I bring people for lunch, you definitely do feel that that family experience.
Yes, and
you do feel that.
Wes, and that's wonderful. Like that's the feedback that we get a lot, and I do think that's the thing. I think it's really hard work, isn't it? When you think about any kitchen, whether it's home or here, it's a massive job, and it's like it's, you know, tedious in a sense, because, you know, like you spend all this time preparing. People eat it down in a second. They go, "Oh, that was lovely." But it's, you know, like you have to do that day in, day out, hour in, you know, like that kind of stuff. So therefore, to me, if it's not in your heart, you would not be able to do it.
Yes.
It's that simple. And as I say, hey, my son George could taste that there wasn't anything
that's
into, you know.
True. You can taste the love in food.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think, so being able to extend that here is definitely, like, it's a part of what Sue and I are all about. Yeah.
No, well, I think you've definitely achieved that.
Yes, thank you, Wes.
We absolutely love it. Dingles could be sort of the kitchen of Rockhampton in a way. You know, it's where the heart sits.
Yes.
But thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you chatting with us today.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, Wes. And as I say, like, you know, and every day in Dingles, someone would ask about our story.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really special to me, because when Sue and I were putting, you know, like the concept of Dingles, and we put Mum and Dad on the wall and whatever, we were doing it because that's what we love. Like, that's what we love to do, right? But we didn't think so many people would be so interested in the story behind it. So it's actually been wonderful.
It's a lovely story.
Yeah.
I think people can feel authenticity and realness versus a pretend story. I think people can sense that.
Yes.
So I think that's why people feel included.
Yes, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah. So thank you, Wes.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.